Masechet Tamid, page 27. We'll start on page 26b. We finish the previous discussion over sleeping in Beit HaMikdash. We explained that there is a derivative in halacha in regards to the issue of sleeping in Beit HaKnesset, the prohibition against sleeping in a temple courtyard in any form, and the explanation when it's come to priesthood and how they set up those who need to spend overnight there. So here, the Mishnah Kedosha said to us, Pirchei Kehuna ish ksuto ba'aretz, which means those Pirchei Kehuna, soon you see two different meanings, but it's basically young men of priesthood. They, each of them, will sleep with his garment on the ground, and obviously garment kisto, which means not ksuto, that they sleep in a sense different than others. Amay hatam kare lehu rovim, hacha kare lehu pirchei kehuna. So why in the early part of the Mishnah we call this young priesthood, they use the term rovim. Rovim in that sense is the young youth, young kohanim, young priests. And here the Tana call them pirchei kehuna. So it means we see now that both expressions applies to the same group of youth. 27 Amrei. So here you see a respond the distinction between the two. Ein, the Mishnah speaks about two different group of young kohanim, young priests. Hatam, over there when you talk about the guardians in the Beit HaMikdash, the lo matu leme'evad avodah kari lehu rovim. So over there, the Mishnah referring to Kohanim who have not reached the age at which they are eligible to perform the temple service, and therefore the Tanakh called them young priests, which means that when it's come to the older Kohanim, they'll not keep watch because they prefer to perform the temple service. However, here, they reach the age that they are befitting to do work in Beit HaMikdash. The Rabbeinu Asher Mefaresh said that they reach the age of maturity. So the Ravid said that Gemara in Chulin 24 said that it's machloket, but anyway we go by the basic Mefaresh and the Rosh explanations. So since they reach the age of maturity, they are eligible to perform the temple services. Karelehu perchei. So therefore, the Tanakh calls them the young men of the priesthood. Now, the Masechet Midot, the first chapter, on what we referred in the previous shiur, in the previous discussion. Tnan Hatam, we learn over there in the Mishnah and Midot, Bishlosha Mekomot, in three different places, HaKohanim Shomrim Beveit HaMikdash, the Kohanim, the priest, guard in the holy temple, which is obviously applied to the temple courtyard. One, Beveit Avtinas, in the chamber of Avtinas, and as we explained several times, Avtinas, Garmor, it was several families that have specialties, some of them in Ketoret, some of them in the recipe of the Lechem Apanim, and others, so they have a special chamber. So one of them, it's called the chamber, the special location of those specialties from the house of Avtinas. Ubeveit Hanitzot, in the chamber of the spark, which is a name of location, ubeveit hamoked, and in the chamber of the heart. So the Rabbeinu Asher explained that each and every one of those locations, they have guardian, both Kohen and Levi. Vehalviyim And the Levites will keep watch, how many places? ב-21 מקומות. In 21 places. 21 places. So that already included those 3 that the Kohanim has, and in addition you have another 18. The Rabbeinu Asher brings also Rabbeinu Tam that said no, the 21 is a separate. But anyway, so they said Chamisha al Chamisha Sha'arei Harabai. So they have 5 upon the 5 gates of the Temple Mount. Arba'a al Arba Pinotav Mibefnim. So 4 upon the 4 corners of the temple courtyard outside the courtyard wall, surrounding the temple courtyard. Chamisha al Chamisha Sha'arei Azara. So you have 5 that applies to the 5 gates of the temple courtyard, and it's a discussion among the Mefarshim. Rabbeinu Shma'aya, the first chapter in Midot, explain that those who guard at the corner of Temple Mountain, as well as those who are inside, betoch ovi hachomot, inside the walls, וארבעה על 4 פינותיו מבחוץ. So you have 4 corners of the temple courtyard outside of the courtyard wall, surrounding the temple courtyard. אחד בלשכת הקורבן. 1 watch is observed in the chamber of the offering. That's the place that the animals they check for blemishes and held readiness for offering. ואחד בלשכת הפרוכת, and 1 watch in kept the chamber of the curtain, where the curtain separating the sanctuary and the Holy of Holies was woven. ואחד אחורי בית הכפורת, and 1 watch is kept behind the chamber of the Ark cover, in the area between the Holy of Holies and the western wall of the Temple Mount. That's like beyond מאחורי קודש הקודשים. That's the called בית הכפורת, not בית הארון. ודיברתי אליך על הכפורת, the Torah said in Shmot 25. There's more on that in the Mefarshim. You see in the Netivot Yair, and you see in the Tiferet Israel that expand on that. So the Gemara asked, Menahani Milei, from where do you know all this idea that you have 21 places where the Leviim keep watch? How do you know this watch, that the 21 places the Rabbeinu Asher said that apply? Now the Ravid say that that's applied to the amount. The question applies to the amount of the guardians, and not the location of the guardians. According to the Mefaresh, it's for both the guardian and the location that they do guardians. But in a book called Be'er Sheva, he expand on that. So Amar Rav Yuda Misura ve'amre la b'matnit Tana, l'chtiv, this is a source from Divrei Yamim, from the book of Chronicles, the first one, chapter 26. So even it's talk about the tabernacle at the time of King David. They did it in both the first and the second temple. They said La Mizrach, in the eastern part, Halviyim Shisha, the Levites were 6, Latzafona, which means to the northern part, Layom, the place that the sun rises, Arba'a, 4 Levites, La Negba, in the southern part, Layom, the place that the sun rises, Arba'a, it was 4 Leviim guardians, Vela Asupim, Shnaim, and for Asupim you have 2 and 2. And then La Parbar, La Ma'arav, And for the parbar westward, 4 למסילה, 2 לפרבר. So you have 4 for the causeway and 2 for the parbar. So the Rabbeinu shall expand how exactly it works. Asupim, for example, as Rabbeinu Tam said, that the people on the Saf Adelet, the Miftan, the entrance, like Shomrei Asaf in the book of Esther, and the Parbar, that they usually place that people not get there. That's the western part of Temple Mountain in the courtyard. That usually people don't use that location. Amrei, they challenge that. Hane, those guardians, 24 havu, so there are 24 in total. So, and the Mishnah mentioned how many? 21. How come? Amar Abaye, hachi kamar v'la'asupim shnayim shnayim. Because we use the term la'asupim 2, and there are always only 2. So it's a very uncommon for the pasuk to repeat the word, and needs to have a special emphasis that especially the end of the verse. So akate esrinu tre havu. So all together is 22 and not the 21 the Mishnah mentioned. So the Gemara said, He'ach de parvar chadava v'acharina betzavtau de'azil v'yativ gabei mishum dekai abarai. So they explain that the watch, which it's a situation parbar, was composed for only 1 watchman. And as for the other Levi that we mentioned in the verse, it was merely to serve as company that he went and sat with the watchman, due to the fact that the parbar was situated on the outer side and it was isolated from the other shomrim, the other watchers. Right. So they ask a question, Mai la parbar? What exactly the explanation, the meaning of the parbar? The book of Chronicles, chapter 26, verse 18. Amar Rabba, barav sheila, keman de amar, klapei bar. It's like a person who said, toward the outside. Usually a place that outside of people not walk there. So that's the western part of the courtyard that behind, the Ravid said, behind the Holy of Holies. So people not walk there, and the rest of the Levites, they are in the western part, which was distanced from that location. As we said, it's a machlokit, what exactly the exact location, and we believe that that's the reason why the Rabbeinu Rasha did not mention the exact location. Some say that Parbar was Sha'ar Kiponos, others disagree with that. But anyway, Ve'ibai Teima, another option, L'olam 24, it's actually 24 watches, and the verse may be interpreted literally as it's written. That they have the 3 Kohanim as mentioned earlier, and the remaining 21 of the orchard that kept by the Leviim. So we have clearly in the pasuk said that it was written the Leviim, the 24 watches kept by the Leviim. כדי רבי יהושע בן לוי, דאמר רבי יהושע בן לוי, ב-24 מקומות נקראו כהנים לוויים, there are 24 locations that the כהנים are called לוויים, וזה אחד מהם, והכהנים הלוויים בני צדוק. They said in Ezekiel chapter 4 that the כהנים הלוויים, the sons of tzadok. So that's this applied to one of their locations. The Mishnah in Tractate Tamid chapter 1, Mishnah 1 said that the chamisha, the 5 watches, are kept upon the 5 gates of Temple Mountain. 5 על 5 שערי הבית, ו4 על 4 פינותיו מתוכו. And 4 watchers are kept upon the 4 corners of the temple courtyard within the Temple Mount wall. 5 על 5 שערי הזרה. 5 watches are kept upon the 5 gates of the temple courtyard. וארבעה על ארבע פינותיו מבחוץ, and 4 are kept upon the four corner of the temple courtyard outside the courtyard wall on the temple mount. מה ישנה הרבי דאבדינן מתוכו ומה ישנה הזרה דאבדינן מבחוץ? What's the difference when it's come to temple mount that we perform the watch within the walls, and when it's come to the courtyard we perform the watch outside the wall? So the Gemara explain, Amrei, you say that what? Har habai, the temple mount. If you have the watchman, the tamaubai meitav yatev. If the watchman's tired and wants to sit down, he may sit down because he permitted to sit on the temple mount. And as a result, amrinan mitocho, we say that the watch is kept within the temple mount. However, azara de itama uba'ele metav lo matze lemeitiv. So if inside the temple courtyard the watch guard, he is tired and he wants to sit, lo matze yativ, as we explained several times, that not allowed to sit, only the descendants of Malchei David, but basically people not allowed to sit there. The Ma'amar en yishva ba'azara el Malchei David bilvad. We said that the descendants of the house of David allowed to permitted to sit in the temple courtyard. So that's what we said in the book of Dvarim, chapter 18, la'amod lesharet, ha'omdim lifnei Hashem. So they are basically standing, they're not sitting. The Mishnah and Melech debate if that's biblical or rabbinic, but anyway, Yair Netivot expand on that. Amrinan mi bachutz. So we say that the watch is kept outside of the wall of temple courtyard, so the watchman can or able, if you wish, to sit down. Amar mar chamisha al chamisha asharei azara. So he said the 5 watches are kept upon the 5 gates of the temple courtyard. So the question is, v'chamisha sharim u'de'ave ba'azara. So only 5 gates were constructed in the wall of temple courtyard. V'ramini, we learn in Tractate Tamid, chapter 1, Mishnah 4. Shiv'a she'arim hayu ba'azara. There are 7 gates in temple courtyard. 3 בצפון, 3 in the northern part, ו3 בדרום, and 3 in the south, ו1 במזרח, and 1 in the east part. So the Gemara answered and he said, Amar Abaye, Trei minayhu lo tzrichei shimur. 2 of those gates do not need to have a watch of the Leviim, because the Kohanim kept watch there, which is the gate of the chamber of spark, Shar HaNitzot, and the gate of chamber of the heart. Another explanation, Rava Amar Tanaihi, that's a disputation among the Tanaim in regards to a number of the gates in the temple courtyard. Etnan en pochatim mi13 gizbarim u'mi7 markalim. They said that you did not have less than fewer than 13 treasurers and 7 trustees appointed over the temple administration. Rabbi Natan omer en pochatim mi13 gizbarim. Rabbi Natan said you must be no fewer than 13 treasurers corresponding to the 13 gates. כנגד 13 שערים. דל 5 דר הבית, take away the 5 that in the gates of Temple Mountain. Pashul Utmanya Ba'azara, you have 8 in Temple Courtyard. Alma, so as a result, Ikatana de Amart Mana have you. So therefore, that Rabbi Natan, that's the Tana, that he said that it was in the temple courtyard 8 gates. V'ikra Tana de Amar Shiva. And there is a Tana in the Mishnah and Midot that said that 7 gates were in the temple courtyard. V'ikra Tana de Amar Chamisha Havu. And there is also a Tana who said that there were 5 gates in temple courtyard. That's basically the Tana that disputed in Mishnah and Midot, chapter 1, Mishnah 4, that said that 7 gates were in the temple courtyard. And he said that it was 8, as Rabbeinu Asher expand and tell us that that's basically the machloket, how many gates were there. Now what we said, lo hayu yishenim bevigdei kodesh. We learned earlier on page 25b that the Kohanim will not sleep dressed in a sacred vestment, rather they will remove them and place them beneath their heads. So the Gemara said, Sheinahu dela. We understand that when it's come to sleep, they do not permit it while the Kohanim is dressed in a sacred vestment, lest he pass wind during the sleep. Aval hiluch me'alchim, but may walk about dress in a vestment, even when they are not need to wear them for the temple service. Shamat mina bigdei kehuna nitnu lehanot bahem. You derive from here a conclusion that it's permitted to derive benefit from the bigdei kehuna, from the priestly vestment. Amrei, the sages said, no, that's incorrect. Hu hadin dafilu iluch namelo, that even walking you're not permitted to wear this priestly garment. And the reason that we mentioned here in the Mishnah specifically did not sleep in a vestment is because because we learn in the last part, the last clause, that tells us that you should fold them and they should place them beneath their heads. So because the Sefer, the later clause, is referring specifically to sleeping, so the Tanakh teaches us, learn the former clause that the Kohanim will not sleep dressed in the vestment. So here the Gemara objects and said that if you go by this way of understanding, the Mishnah itself is hard to understand. They place them, those priestly garments, beneath the heads. It's like a cushion. Shma mina, what you derive from here, bigdei kehuna nitnu lehanot bahem, that the priestly vestment is permitted to derive benefit from them. So the Gemara reject that and say, Eiman neged rashem. The Mishnah means that they will place the vestment next to the head, not literally beneath them. Amar Rav Papa shma mina, from the word of the Mishnah we derive, tfilin min hatzad sharyan v'lo chayshinon shema dilma migandar v'nafil lehu. So when it's come to a place tefillin by the side of his head while he sleeps, they are permitted place, and we are not concerned that he may roll over in his sleep and fall upon them, which is degrade the kedusha, the sanctity of the tefillin. Tosfot Rosh in Yoma 69 derive from here that it's okay to sleep while they have a priestly garment close to his head. It's not concerned about being disrespectful or degrading them. But that's also logical, reasonable, that we understand the Mishnah that they permits the vestment or to be placed next to the heads. The keneged rashehen, the amar tachat rashem, because if you tell me that it's applied beneath the heads, because you tell me that you can they're permitted to derive benefit from them. So you can say, teipok le mishum isura dechilaim. You can drive the prohibition to sleep upon them because it's a prohibition of diverse kinds, which is the shatnez, the linen and wool. The vestment that the Kohanim wore contain both wool and linen, which is prohibited mixture in every other context. So the Torah specifically permits the Kohanim to wear them while they are performing temple services. However, you cannot extend it by using them to the vestment as a cushion while sleeping. Page 27b. This is well according to one who said that the belt of the high priest is not the same as the belt of the mundane, ordinary Kohen, because even you tell me that the high priest belt was the belt that contained both wool and linen. The belt of ordinary Kohen, like the rest of this vestment, was made entirely of linen and did not contain the shatnez, the diverse kind. But the one who said that the same avneh, the same gartel, the same belt So what we're going to say, because if you tell me that the belt, the gartel, they have nets contain diverse kinds, so how could the Mishnah possibly permit the Kohen to sleep upon their vestment? וחיתימה כלאיים בעלייה ולבישה הוא דאסור, אבל מימח תותי שפיר דמי. You can tell me that when it's come to diverse kind, it is only placing the garment upon oneself or wearing it that is prohibited, but as for spreading it beneath you is permitted. This explanation is very difficult. Ve'atanya, we derive from the book of Leviticus chapter 19 verse 19, Lo ya'ale alecha, neither shall become upon you garment of diverse kind. אבל אתה מציאות תחתיך, but you can put it, this diverse kind, beneath you. אבל אמרו חכמים, but the sages said, wait a second, אסור לעשות כן, it's prohibited to do it, שמא תיקרח נימה אחת על בשרו, because it's a possibility that even a single fiber wrap itself upon its flesh, which will cause him to be in the violation of the Torah prohibition. So therefore, the Kohanim will not permit it to place vestment made of the kilaim of diverse kind beneath their heads. V'chitema the mafsik midi. So maybe we said that something separate between the flesh and the vestment, because the fiber could not wrap themselves upon the flesh. So that's still prohibited. אמר רבי שמעון אמר רבי יהושע בן לוי אמר רבי יוסף בן שאול משום קהלה קדישה שבירושלים אפילו 10 מצעות זו על גב זו וכיליים תחתיהם, even if there are 10 mattresses piled one at the top of the other and the garment of diverse kinds is placed beneath them, or all of them, אסור לישון עליהם, is prohibited to sleep upon them. It's because this rabbinic decree applies equally to all cases. אלא שמע מינן נגד ראשיהם. You have to say that the Mishnah permits the vestment to be placed only next to their head. Another option, ואי בהיתמה, באותן שאין בהן כלאיים. So you can say that that's applied only those that don't carry the diverse kind. That's מצנפת, כתונת, מכנסיים. רב אשי אמר, בגני כהונה קשין הן. Rashi says that the priestly garment are specifically the belt are stiff, and therefore it's not prohibited to lie on them. He said the stiff felt, which is manufactured in the city of Neresh, and it made of diverse kind, is permitted. The prohibition of diverse kinds only applies to items that's similar to garments, which one derives pleasure from them wearing them. But when it's come to a stiff garment, it's not provided warmth, so therefore it's not included in that prohibition. Tashma. בגדי כהונה יוצא בהם למדינה אסור. Says that the priestly garment, one who leave the temple dress in them and goes outside the temple is prohibited. ובמקדש, but in the temple, בין בשעת העבודה, בין בשלובתה, regardless of the time of the performing work or not, mutar, you're allowed to wear them. מפני שבגדי כהונה ניתנו ליהנות בהם שמע מינה, because the priestly garments are permitted to derive benefit from them, and that's the conclusion of the Braita, that is permitted to derive benefit from the priestly garment. So the Gemara asks about the Bamdina, which is outside the temple courtyard law. It's not allowed. But Tanya ב-21 bo, we learn in the Braita that 21st of Tevet, that was a special day. That what? Some said Bekislev, but most of the Mefarshim hold that was the Tevet. That's the Megillat Ta'anit. Yom Har Grizim, that's the time of the Kutim. That's the day that of Mount Grizim, that's established as a festive day, and therefore is not permitted to eulogize. דלא למספד, כדאית ביום הפרק בא לו כהן, קרוב וכולי. So that's elaborate over there that that's the day that the Kutim came to Beit HaMikdash, and they asked from Alexander Mogdon to destroy it, and he gave it to them, and then they talked to Shimon the Righteous, and the whole story how he appeared to him, and then he changed his mind. Anyway, Ibaitema רואים לבגדי כהונה, Ibaitema et לעשות להשם הפרו תורתך. So one said that it's befitting for made the same material and design for priestly garment, and the other said that this is a tzav hasha'ah, it's orat sha'ah, so it's in time of great need, when they seek to prevent the destruction of the temple, is permitted to violate the halacha for the sake of heaven. So therefore the action of Shimon HaTzadik averts the destruction. So they said, Eira keri be'echad men. The Mishnah in page 25 said if a seminal emission befall one of the priests and rendered him ritually impure, he will leave the chamber of heart and will walk through the tachat habira ad shemageh lebeit tefillah, until he goes to a place that he can purify himself. Mesiyale le Rabbi Yochanan, the Amar. So this is support of the view of Rabbi Yochanan. He said that the mechilot, those tunnels beneath the Temple Mount, lo nitkadshu, were not sanctified, neither with the sanctity of the temple courtyard, nor with the sanctity of Temple Mount. Ubal keri mishtalech chutz lishnei machanot. But a person that experienced this seminal emission is sent outside of the two camps, the camp of the divine presence and the camp of the Leviim. So he may not remain in the temple courtyard, which has the status of a camp of divine presence, nor in the Temple Mount, which is the status of the camp of Leviim. And the truth is that these two halachot of Rabbi Yochanan is no connection between them. It's only because Rabbi Yochanan himself heard it from his teacher, and that's the way the Mefaresh explained to us. But the Gemara derived from that is the Rosh tells us that that's what Rabbi Yochanan said, the first halakha, that those tunnels under the Beit HaMikdash will not carry sanctity, and that's the proof that someone who's Balkari can go toward that. But most of the Mefarshim, Naftuach and others, said all of these halachot is basically rabbinic and not by the Torah. But the best way for those who can read Hebrew, there is a book called Yair Netivot that they expand on this sugya, as well as the book called Mei Naftuach.